Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, playfastfootball.blogspot.com. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to do a little question and answer session. I mentioned with one of the last blogs that I did when I did one with Coach Allball from Chief Pigskin that one of my goals this year was to kind of change some things up a little bit with how we were doing some things. So one of those ideas was to do some guest blogs with some people. Obviously, for me locally in the Northeast Florida area, it's easier for me to do stuff with some people from around here, but to do some guest blog stuff so that you could kind of get an idea for how other people do things, not always get my opinion on how I do things. The other thing I want to do is I want to do some question and answer stuff. You know, I get a lot of emails or comments on the YouTube channel itself, and a lot of times I am late to get to some of those between the emails, and then when you try and respond to the emails, sometimes you can only you can't reply to the email itself. You have to respond through YouTube, and then depending on if I'm at work or at home. If I'm at work, our computers aren't the greatest with YouTube. Sometimes I get kicked off, so I can't respond. I got to wait till I get home. So what I thought I might start doing is answering a few questions that get thrown out there randomly. I thought I might do a blog every once in a while and take 3 or 4 questions, offense, defense, special teams, whatever it may be, and just kind of go through a Q&A. Another thing that I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to figure out a way. I'm either going to distribute through a third party, or I'm going to figure out a way to start distributing some of our ideas and our materials. Where I get a lot of people that ask about playbooks and hard copies of things, and really don't have one. Never really had one. We have a certain way we like to teach our kids our offense and our defense, and we don't like to actually put it in their hands. We have a lot of things drawn up on Huddle, but we don't necessarily have a full playbook. So I'm currently right now trying to figure out the best way to do that, to put together a 4-2-5 split field coverage manual, and then a spread up tempo manual, or maybe just a tempo manual itself. As I've got a couple Glacier clinics coming up. I'll be in Atlanta February 24th, and I'll be in Tampa on March 3rd. And then I also have an article on defending RPOs coming out in the new USA Football book that Coach's Choice has partnered up with USA Football to put out a book on, I don't know, 30 or some odd different coaches do it with schematics and probably some weight room stuff and practice organization and X's and O's. So I'm kind of excited about partnering up with USA Football to do that. All right, so right now as we look, we're in the off season. Everybody's in clinic time. There's been some clinics going on. I know Glazier's been in Indy and some other places, and we'll go to our first clinic in first week of February in Orlando. And this is the time that everybody really wants to kind of try and branch out and grow and learn. So it's a great time to produce as many videos as possible, get some people excited about what they're doing, what they want to do. If you're a Twitter person tonight on hashtag FLHSFBchat. I'll be running the Florida High School football chat tonight. Don't know what the topic is yet. I asked people for some suggestions and ideas, and if I get any DMs or any notifications when I get home on my computer on my Florida High School Twitter, I'll let you guys know what the topic's going to be, okay, or what the questions might be. All right, so the first question I got was a random question. We talk a little bit about 3-3 stack stuff and playing some 3-3 stack stuff, and I got a question on how to defend 12 personnel from 3-3 stack, and the question actually asked, would we bump the front or would we kick the front into anything else? And my answer is no. If I'm going to be 3-3 stack, I'm staying in that front. Our coverages on the back end are how we would adjust to certain formations. Okay, so if I'm in 3-3 stack, and especially as a changeup, if I get in the stack as a changeup, I would like to stay in the stack and not go back to some type of under or over front, because the reason I got into the stack or the straight odd look or the okie look was to change up from under over. So I don't want to change that look up. Also, for me, if I'm going to play the stack, I'm going to play it as close to I can as Villanova and Coach Crocker, who is now the DC at UConn. I'm interested to see what they do at UConn. I would try and play it as close to them as I could, keeping it a 6-man box similar to the 4-2-5 and working our fits that way. It would not be a constant state of movement slanting from the 3-3 stack and sending a 4th player. I would play it as a generic 6-man box. So what we would do, all right, is if I was a 3-3 stack team and I got 12 personnel, 2x2, all right, what I would do is I would figure out whether it's to the back or to the field or to the quarterback's throwing hand or to their best offensive lineman. All right, I would go ahead and play quarters concepts, all right, to one side, and then I would go ahead and play lock man to the backside. For those of you who study split field coverages, the way we do split field coverages, that is how I would start with what we were doing, okay? And then, all right, back here, all right, the next thing I would do is if this was into the boundary, I would think about possibly playing some version of cover 2 on the backside, all right? And then the next adjustment we would make is we would bump, all right, if we had to, we would bump the backers over a little bit, get us into more of a 3-4 look, and kind of pull the coverage away from the strength, all right? And we would end up playing quarters on both sides, okay? So we would always start quarters and lock, all right? That's how we would do it. We would leave the 3-3 stack box look, wouldn't change anything in the box. We would start quarters to the side we want to set the read side to. We would be in lock, man-to-man away. Now, when you are in lock, man-to-man away, some of the things that you're going to struggle with, if they are a Q run team and they put the running back to the side and you have man-to-man and they go Q stretch, tailback becomes an extra blocker, you're going to be a little bit short on that side. If they go in the pistol so you can't set the front and they start running zone, okay, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, here's the adjustments. Quarters lock is base. Cover 2 into the boundary, quarters and quarters with pulled linebackers away from the strength call if we had to. All right, but to get back to our original, all right, our original scenario, we had Sam, Mike, Will, we had weak safety sitting here. Okay, things that are going to give you an issue. All right, Q runs to the side of the running back are going to give a little bit of an issue to that 3-man surface and the running back because your strong safety is set over here. You're going to have a little bit of an issue defending that, all right? And zone to your read side, all right? Zone to your read side here, all right? With a tight end that can kind of arc release, all right? And get to either the will or the weak safety depending on how you're playing it, all right? And then depending on what they're doing, if they can get it, all right? Zoned up, all right? If they can get it zoned up, that way, like that, or possibly they could lock here and read that. However they do it, you're going to be kind of short a guy. So that's why versus 12 personnel, you've got to have another answer ready to go to the backside. Generically speaking, we start off in quarters and lock, all right? So we would be with our free safety sitting right here at about 8 yards in the C-gap flat-footed. There's our D-gap player. We would fit the box with a normal 6-man box, all right, similar to how we would fit it in the 4-2-5. We'd play lock on that side. Just a heads up, though, there are some things that can get you in a little bit of trouble, so be ready to make an adjustment. But generically speaking, no, we would not move the front 12 personnel, okay? Next question I got was split field coverage 4-2-5 stuff, double tight, all right, 22 personnel. This one is not, you know, schematically for us, this one is not that big of an issue. It's just a matter of the players that the other team has. But schematically for us, split field wise, this is really not an issue at all, and it's something that we actually feel fairly comfortable playing. Again, it's just a matter of who do they have. All right, who do they have? Who do we have? So if we were to see a 22 personnel team, 2-back team, all right, with double tight, okay? So 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. All right, what we would do is obviously we would set the strength to the tight end flanker, all right? So this would be our read side here. And for us, tight end flanker, we are almost always going to play quarters to that side. So we got our 8-man front set up here with a D-gap force player. We got the free safety coming for extra. We feel like we are pretty good. To the backside, our rules tell us, all right, that if we get a single, all right, if we get a single width on the backside, anything that's single width, we're going to play that sky or cloud, right? For us, we like our safety down as much as possible because we like our safety being closer to the box to play the run. That's how our personnel is. So we would like to be in sky, all right? But when the single width is a nub, okay, what you also want to do is you want your high half player to play a quarters or robber technique, okay? So we want this corner, all right, probably somewhere, generically speaking, in the C-gap, about 8 yards off the ball, flat-footed, okay? Why? Because that's how we're going to gain our extra guy in the run game. All right, so if we get lead runs this way, and they have a 3-man surface and a fullback, they have 4 to block R4. The way we're going to gain a guy is with the high half player. Now, why are we able to do that? it's a nub side. He's a deep half of the field player. The tight end is the only thing right now that can affect that deep half of the field. We're in quarters over here, so any vertical is going to get matched by the free safety. We're going to play one man-to-man on everything deep. We got a flat player there. We've got a hook curl player there. So to this side, the tight end right now is really the only thing that can affect me deep. So if I play a quarters, even though technically I'm a half the field deep player, versus a nub, if I play a quarters robber, flat-footed read from 8 yards, and the tight end puts his hands on a 7 technique, I'm going to fit the run to be an extra half. If the tight end releases flat or the tight end releases vertical, he's my only threat vertical. If he releases flat, then I'll get some depth to play the half because I know if he's going flat, all right, it might be some type of drop back pass concept. Now I can get deep on the half and I might be able to help somebody back to the middle of the field since it's only a single width on this side. All right, so 2x2, if we saw 2x2, two-back stuff for us, all right, we would play quarters on one side and we would play sky or cloud to the other side. All right, cloud would simply look like this. Your corner's there, your weak safety is there. That sometimes is easier to do because your weak safety to a nub has played quarters or robber concepts before. All right, so that sometimes is easier to teach than it is to teach the corner to play robber or quarters. The difference is we like our safety down here more than we like our corner down there. That's just preference, personal preference. That is up to you. Okay? All right. Next question I got was, all right, where and how do you start being a tempo team? A guy asked a question and said they tried to use some tempo last year, tried to convince their head coach to use some tempo. Every time they did it, it was absolutely horrible. Where do you start? What do you do? First thing is you got to understand, really, all right, in general, tempo really just comes down to communication. Okay? Think about it. All right, originally football was played with the huddle, and you had either a receiver running in or a running back running in, telling the quarterback to play, or the quarterback ran from the sideline to get the play from the coach, then he ran back in the huddle. But all that system was of being in the huddle. It wasn't a rule of how you had to play football. It was just at that time one of the only ways they knew how to tell everybody on the team what to do. So because they were in the huddle telling everybody on the team what to do, you could afford to be a little bit more wordy. You could afford to be longer with your calls. All right, like some of the calls here in the NFL when the quarterback is getting a play through his headset, all right, in his helmet, and those plays are 15 words long. Yeah, they're physically going through checks and different routes and things that every player on the field, so they're talking to every player on the field. All right, so the huddle originally started as a method or a means of communication. All right, eventually you got to some wristband type stuff where guys said, okay, instead of running people back and forth, instead of running my quarterback back and forth, I could just signal a play in on a wristband. They look at the wristband, they tell everybody the play. Okay, so originally you got to look at it and think about, you know, communication was how you could get the play into everybody. So when you're talking tempo, the first thing you got to think about is communication. Do you have a means to get plays and formations into your team precisely, very quickly? Okay, let me give you just an example. Okay, if you were a Pro I team, all right, and let's say you were a 28 toss team or something along those lines. All right, maybe your 28 toss to the even side could be Toronto, and your 29 toss, all right, could become Tulane. All right, so now you have one word to go ahead and signal into everybody that tells you what play you're running. Toronto's toss right, Tulane's toss left. You teach it as toss blocking, whether it's G-pull, reach, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter to me, but you are running 28 toss Toronto, 29 toss Tulane. Toss right, toss left. Now you have one word and one signal that lets the players know the play that's being run, the scheme that's being blocked, okay, and who the ball carrier is going to be, right? 28 toss, the 2 is the tailback to the 8 hole, the toss told the old lineman or the people how to block it, all right, or a 28 G toss or whatever you want it to do, okay? 29 was the 2 back to the 9 hole, running toss, okay? We erase that, we eliminate that with Toronto or Tulane. Now we have a method or a mannerism or a way to get that play into our team fastly. So now all we got to do is signal, okay, hey, pro, right, all right, and then, you know, let's say Toronto were the Blue Jays, so it was, let's just say for argument's sake, you were pro, right, Toronto, all right, whatever the signal may be, okay? Now you've got that play in, you've got everything that you want, all right, or Tulane's the green wave. It could be, you know, Tulane the green wave, you could wave, could be a basketball signal, whatever you want. All right, that's the first thing. Do you have the communication to do so? Okay. The second thing to be up tempo is do you have the self-control as a head coach to understand that the majority of your work is going to be done during the week, working on getting guys lined up, making calls quickly, all right? Understanding that you've got to correct things in practice or in film afterwards because you're not going to stop a lot on the field, all right? Is that a mindset that you have, or do you need to move people around? Do you need to switch people? Do you need to motion or trade? Do you need to stop on offense? You can't dabble in tempo. It's something you do or you don't. So when you want to work on it, you've got to practice it all the time. You have to have tempo periods on air where you're just rifling through communication in place. You've got to have inside run or team runs that are tempoed. You've got to have skellies that are tempoed. You have to play in that mannerism all the time, or at least in certain periods, so that at the end of the day, when it comes time to do that, all right, you can, all right, be able to play that way. Does it mean you have to streamline your playbook? Yes, a little bit. Does it mean you have to streamline your calls? Yes, a little bit. Does it mean you only have to run 4 or 5 plays on a menu? No. There's a lot of people who, when they go extremely up-tempo, they have a menu, they have a NASCAR, Indy, Daytona, they have a tempo menu, they got 6 things that they like, and they go from the menu. Absolutely fine, not a problem with that. Eventually, within the communication of what you're doing on offense, you can get to where your whole offense operates almost at that pace, because you can call anything you want. All right, you want to run 4 verticals? All right, we'll call Virginia. All right, and then we'll give a protection side. All right, so Virginia Ringo. That's the protection. The protection Ringo means full slide, half slide, whatever it may be. Virginia means 4 verticals. You got the play taught. If you're a run and shoot type team and you're reading those to where they're either comebacks or benders or whatever, it's already taught. That's how you teach 4 verticals. That's how you communicate 4 verticals. All right, so you're going to go Virginia Ringo. There goes your play side. There goes your protection. All right, you want to run midline. All right, you're going to go Maryland midline right. You're going to go Milwaukee midline left. All right, now you've got midline play. You know the blocking scheme. Maryland is midline to the right. Milwaukee is midline to the left. The R tells you right. The first R, the first L tells you, or the only L tells you left. Simple communication, all right? You can run it in any offensive scheme. I don't care who you are, what you are. You can be up-tempo. You can be fast in any scheme. Understand how to communicate. Understand how to practice. And understand exactly what tempo is as a football coach, okay? Last question I got was, all right, an example of 2x2 speed ball. All right, and how often could you stay in it? Okay, speed ball for us, all right, speed ball for us means, we've covered this on other blogs, same play, okay, until killed by the coordinator. All right, so speed ball comes from the sideline. So speed ball for us is the same play over and over again until killed by the coordinator, right? All right, so 2x2, speed ball for us is something that has multiple options. All right, so for us, speed ball is going to be, all right, zone. However we declare it that week, whether we're going to work, normally we'll work to the stack here, and we'll try and work to the will there. All right, so it's going to be zone with bubble screen there, and then it's going to be access throws on that side there, okay? So speed ball tempo means we are running this play, all right, in whatever the formation is, all right? So let's just say, for example, all right, this is, all right, even right or doubles right or spread right, okay? Whatever it may be, all right? And this is zone right bubble, okay? When we teach this play as zone bubble out of this formation, we are going to teach it as inside zone to the right with a bubble screen, all right, to the backside slot on the left with access throws on the front side, all right, to the receivers on the front side, on the right, on the front side of the zone play. That's how the play is going to be taught. So when we go into speed ball, we have a play that has, okay, give, keep, bubble, access. Okay? So again, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? We have 4 options on that football play. So for us in a speed ball situation, we feel like that's a good football play to speed ball. Why? Because every time we run that play, it's got 4 options. The quarterback will be taught, just like you teach him, you know, I hear people all the time that say that. I really don't like that. I don't like a quarterback or a 16-year-old kid that has to be in charge of all those things. If you run this play, you are going to teach him how to read the end, how to pull off the end, how to keep or throw bubble off of the next thing that shows, okay? You've already taught the kid that. Why not let him do it on his own in an up-tempo speed fashion? You've already taught the kid. The only thing that is somewhat even remotely difficult to coach is when to take the access side. Because if you are running this play, all right, successfully, you need to understand when the defense changes, okay? When the defense changes to get out of the play. So that all of a sudden, all right, you're running this play again, and all of a sudden the next time you go to run the play, the Willie's up here, strong safety's up here, and they're coming with hard hearts, all right, 6-man pressure, man-to-man behind it. Well, if we don't change the play, we have to have something to go to. We can't just run the zone read and have this kid, all right, absolutely kill, all right, this kid absolutely kill, all right, the dive, all right, with this kid sitting on the quarterback. Now, if you're really good, I get it, when you see this look, your offensive line can turn out on the will coming off the edge and you can still read, okay, all right, but the other thing that you could do is you've got this guy that we cannot block. Even if we pull the chain with our front 3 linemen, even if you went with a chain call to this blitz and you pull the chain, you still can't get to him. All right, so this is a 7-man box against 5 blockers. Okay? Not a problem if you have access throws built in. All right? If they want to be off, throw hitches. If they want to come up and dog you out man-to-man, okay? If they want to come out and dog you out man-to-man, then have the ability in your game plan to either go vertical or to have things that are man-to-man rubs. Now what you've got is you've got a play that has 4 options, and in speed ball tempo, we want to get up on the ball and we want to run that play over and over and over again until you kill it. All right, so until the offensive coordinator says, hey, no, kill, get in a new formation, get in a new play. Now, the other question was, Coach, could you stay in that for a whole drive? Sure you could. Okay, sure you could. Could you stay in it for a whole game? Yeah, probably not. All right, but if you're running zone, read, bubble, access with 4 options, and the other team can't figure out a way to defend it, why do you have to change? You don't have to call another play just to show people you can call multiple plays. If you've got a play that has an answer built into everything that they can't stop, keep running it, okay? But that is what speedball tempo is. Speedball comes from the sideline. Speedball is a play that we will repeat over and over and over again. Common questions you get. Coach, ball goes to the hash mark. Do you change it? No. We still run zone to the field, bubble into the boundary. We do not change it. Why? Because the tempo of the speedball stuff is more important than getting the run the right way. You want to change the play, then you got to kill it. Once you kill it, you're out of that tempo. All right? Coach, when or why do you use speedball? We like to use speedball early, get it going early so that we can get that defense to have to line up a little bit quicker, see how quickly they can line up, see if they can handle tempo. If we could move the ball and get some first downs, we'd like to make conditioning a factor in the first or second quarter, not in the second half when the game might be out of hand. If we're down 28 points and the other team's tired, it doesn't do us any good. We need the other team to be tired while we're still in the game. So a lot of times if we're playing a really good opponent, all right, that we feel like we're going to struggle with, we'll go speedball right off the bat, and hopefully we don't go 3 and out. Hopefully we can get a first down and move the ball a little bit so that we can get that defense to kind of tire out a little bit. We like to use it to see if they can line up, as I've already said. If I go speedball and a team can't handle that tempo, I already know that they don't understand how to handle tempo. We're going to stay as fast as we can all game long. If I go speedball and they're a team that has no problems, their kids don't even blink, all right, and we're not moving the ball, then we'll obviously kill it. We may not go back to it. When we do go back to it, we'll go back to it with a different play. But a lot of times I like to speedball, quick game, and boot because I have a quick hitch to one side and I have a bootleg away, so I really feel like it's good versus almost anything I get. If you don't give me the hitch, I'll turn it to boot. If you give me the hitch, I'll keep throwing it. So it's not like we have to run this play only, but this is one of the best plays we like in speedball because it gives us multiple options. I may come back to this theory of play in a different 2-back formation and kind of just change the presentation of the play without changing the play. But that's what speedball is. All right, that's how we use it in tempo. If you're going to be a true up-tempo team, you're going to have to understand how to do things like speedball and freeze and what we call turbo, which is stay in the same formation. And those are things down the line to be an up-tempo team, to be a true up-tempo team, things that you're going to have to figure out. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of this little Q&A session today. If you have any questions, get them onto the YouTube channel. I'll do the best I can to answer them, and then once a month or once every 2 or 3 weeks, I might get on the board and just answer some of the questions you guys shot out, all right? I appreciate you guys following. I appreciate all the views. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. See you next time.